Word. Boom. All right. We're live. It's summer. Drum roll, please. Ta-da.
Ta-da!
That was
Welcome,
good.
welcome back to this summer show. It's great to be back. It's been 2 weeks, um, but yeah, we are back with new content.
Yes. Content every Sunday, hopefully.
Hopefully every Sunday. So yeah, we'll try to kind of like do that. So Kevin, what's this podcast number for you? 1400,
266 ish.
266.
This one,
That's
probably.
that's a lot of episodes. If you had to guesstimate how much time do all these 268 episodes make, what would you guess?
How much time total? As in, like, if you listen to like episode 1 to
From
now,
1 to 2 now, yes.
probably like 300 hours, maybe.
300 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
And
I don't know.
uh,
There.
well, if each episode was like, let's say, an hour,
Uh-huh.
it would be about 260 hours. And
260.
so anywhere from 30 minutes to 260, so anywhere from like 130 hours to 260 hours,
Roughly. Yeah.
roughly, right? That's
Uh-huh.
still a lot of hours that
Uh-huh.
you put in. And how much of that would you say you've spent talking? 50%, 40%, 60%,
I don't know.
90%?
It so I do most of the episodes solo for the last like couple months.
Mm-hmm.
And those are tend to be shorter. So I probably say, I don't know, 60. Just be on the safe side because I'm the one who's usually run on over and over again and asking the questions and whatnot.
So
Let's
that's
let's
that's 60% of those hours is that when you spend recording. I mean, I'm sure your voice has become better.
Yeah. Does my voice sounds more sexy the more you do it? The more you do it, like the free Hogan Morgan Freeman situation. So
For all those viewers, if you're listening to this podcast,
yeah.
please rate Kevin's sexiness of his voice between 1 to 5.
And then
5 being
please
sexy.
please tag your response to Summer's Instagram, please. Don't tag me. Tag Summer. Anyway,
By the way, what is the Instagram for the RDR show? Hashtag
just the
RDR.
RDR Show Duo, I think. Yeah, RDR Show Duo on Instagram.
Okay, go ahead and tag the RDR show.
Cool.
If you want to. So that's a lot of time that you've spent podcasting, and podcasting is kind of taken off in this past year or so. I mean, I personally hadn't thought about podcasts and kind of like then wasn't into it, but the past year has been like podcast, and Joe Rogan
Mm-hmm.
and some of these other armchair experts and stuff you should know, and all of these other things that kind of blown kind of away. So how do you do it? How do you podcast? Just get a
Listen,
mic and start talking?
you don't even need a mic. Like your like cell phone quality is like so good. I remember we did a conversation back in like at the burger the
Oh
point
yeah, the caliber
point
357.
357 like the gun range.
Yeah.
That podcast was in a noisy freaking restaurant. I'm just using my phone and it sounded fine, right? Like one can
Mm-hmm.
argue that you don't even need a mic.
Well, some kind of recording device.
Yeah, just use your phone and then you can be good. And then the reason that I launched this podcast is because it's actually when I was doing this research on launching a podcast about 2 years ago, the app that I was telling McKinley about, like the Anchor app, they just launched like right when I launched my podcast. They launched it like maybe a month before, something like that. Because I was ready to do the whole like RSS feed and all those things. I plug it into different player, and then Anchor just do it for you, and then it's free. I was like, oh, good timing. I'm gonna have a podcast now. So that's kind of like the catalyst to the whole scenario.
So You do a lot of talking and speaking in your line of work too. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes. Interviewing and, like doing sales, marketing. Yes.
And would you call yourself a introvert or an extrovert in the sense of social speaking?
I can put on different modes, if that
What's
makes sense.
your what's your what's your default?
My default is like me, Kevin, chilling at home, like talking with Summer is going to be introvert, right? But in an extent that we have a relationship, we're longtime friends, and I become more loose, and if that makes sense,
So
right?
if you were put into a gathering of people like
Mm-hmm.
you did not know,
Yeah.
how would you respond to that gathering? Would you not talk to anybody at all or try avoiding conversation?
I
Or
would
would
choose
you
not to go first. If I have to
well,
go,
if you have to go, would you do that? Or would you stick to one or two people that you and try to make a conversation with them that you somehow thought like, okay, I'm gonna try this, or
yeah,
you would try to go and try to make conversation with everybody you could find.
that's not me.
That's not you, okay?
The last person you talk about, that's not me. In that situation, I probably chat with a couple of people, maybe a chit chat. If somebody and I we hit it off, then I might I talk to them more about whatever subject. And if not, then I just try to leave early or something. I don't know.
So you would lean towards a more of an introvert or more of like
Yeah,
a
yeah. I'm an
uh,
introvert.
so as you said, that's your default, but when
Mhm.
you're working, you got to switch to a different mode and force yourself to speak to strangers and trying to make a conversation to get them to like test out a product or or give a commitment or something like that. So how does that like do you have any thoughts for people or listeners who might want to try out podcasting but are just shy, just find it difficult to because even though a podcast is you might be speaking to a phone or a computer or something like that recording, but eventually you expect a lot of other people to hear, so it's almost like indirectly conversing with a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
and people might be shy and because they are, I don't know, shy about speaking about their voice, anything of that sort. So seems like you may have some thoughts on that.
The biggest thing is just trying to find something that you want to talk about that you cannot shut up about. That's it, right? Like first, like I can tell like the whole, the podcast idea from your wife. She's very passionate about it, right? Then started out by talking about something that she just very passionate about, and then that kind of a enthusiasm will come out, right? It's like me, if I'm reading, Indian history, no offense to you, but if I'm doing a podcast on like Indian history from India, then I'm not going to be as enthusiastic talking about that compared to I talk to a Chinese history.
However, to kind of change that, I see there's a YouTube channel about and you might know this guy, I don't know, it's an American guy who's going to Chinatown in New York and speaking Chinese and
Yeah.
recording how people are like surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so in that sense, it might be beneficial for somebody to talk about a subject that may not necessarily relate to them. But as you said, like if you started to talk about Indian history, I'm sure people will be like, "What?"
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
That's
it might be interesting. It might be like,
that's
uh,
true. I'm I'm kind of talking about more of a delivery, if that makes sense.
yeah, that's right. That's
Right.
right.
So if I'm like all boring, all dull, this happened, this, nobody is gonna like listen to that, right? And I think part of the reason that this podcast draw you into it, first of all, you know me, and second of all, like Joffrey and I back in the day, we were having some heated discussion as well, right? So that's just what it is. Like, that's what draws people in, if that makes sense.
That's true. So what would you um how did your comfort level change from like being perhaps very scripted and very like guarded about what you said and how you said it to like your Twitch shenanigans? Um,
Yeah, like that
if
episode
you
there
guys haven't listened to
for
that,
some
that that
reason.
that was a hilarious episode.
Really?
That
You
was
listened to the
a
whole thing?
I listened to the whole. It was hilarious because it was totally unscripted,
It was.
totally like what are these guys doing? Like
It was.
and you guys are laughing and
Okay.
it was one of the better episodes because it was just funny. It was just
Yeah.
like
Like
uh,
I was okay. Like a little backstory on this, right? So we recorded that a long time ago, maybe like middle of February,
oh
something
okay.
like that. Like we and 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 I just uploaded. I didn't want to release it because I was doing my usual quarantine diary stuff, like the all serious stuff. And then I just keep postponing it, right? And then one day I wake up and say, oh crap, because I set up like maybe I want to put it up like I don't know, a Monday in April or something, and I forgot about that. And then boom, one day it's okay, cool, it's out, and then and that episode did really well for some reason. There was no
Because for the same reason because it was so different from the content that's already been on the channel. It was like
yeah,
what the heck are these guys doing?
there
And
was
it's like
no valuable content whatsoever, just us like
no,
just
I disagree.
really
What you had in that was the element of I want to see what these guys are doing. I want to be like, what are these guys doing? Like I
right,
want to be involved with you. I want to be involved with what they're doing. You know,
right.
more like people who might already know how Twitch works. You might you might be getting there like, let me help you, Kevin. It's like for people it was like press this button and it's like, why are you not pressing this button? And it's like, duh. It's like, I don't know. It was an element of that was kind of like funny. It was hilarious. It was like, geez, guys, you guys are so stupid. But
That's true. I mean, think about it. Like we literally talk about like, and then we literally we installed the Twitch broadcasting app on air during that freaking episode, and then we were just like, how like why would somebody watch somebody sleep for like 8 hours as a sleep dream? Right?
there you go. So it was so different.
Creepy.
It was so different from your regular content. And to my point that I was saying that it was unexpected.
Right. It's
It
true.
was like, boom, like, what are we gonna see next? Kevin play games?
I might. I don't know.
Hint, hint.
I
Like,
don't know. Right.
or Kevin sleeps, or or maybe we'll have one video about Kevin just teaching Hank stuff.
Dog
I don't
train.
know, dog training or Hank teaching Kevin.
Right.
That would be funny. Like Kevin is fetching a ball and like
That's right. That's right. All the possibilities, right?
all
Yeah,
the possibilities.
I mean, like, thank you for like saying that, like, like that that makes a lot of sense now, right? Because like for me, from the producer perspective, like it was something that I want to stash on the shelf, and then I released it by accident, right? And then I ended up doing pretty well. So I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's something to kind of consider is to, and it's probably one of the. I mean, I haven't listened to all your 200 episodes, but it was probably one of the few episodes when you like laughed so much, you enjoyed yourself
Yeah,
so much.
because we're just hanging
Not
out.
saying you don't laugh in the other episodes, but it was just like,
Yeah,
geez, man, you guys are just goofing around
we're just hanging out, right?
and talking about how people can watch other people sleep.
Yeah, it's creepy. It's freaking creepy.
I know. But anyway, so going back to the question is transitioning from a very scripted, guarded
Yeah.
thing to that, where you're so comfortable about like whatever other people think or might not, you're okay. You're just saying stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
And you guys are not high, right? by the way. You don't have to say it.
Our guys are what? Sorry.
Were you guys high? No.
Hi? No, no. We're living in Utah. Come on, no, all the way no. It's illegal here, Summer. If you don't know, it's illegal. Anyway, well,
You have a lot of weird plants in your house
that's
that you
true.
grow.
Like the bonsai trees that go sideways. That's true. All right, cool. Focus, Summer. All right. If you listen to our earlier episode, I remember in the beginning we were doing like pages and pages of scripts, right? And then I think like for the first 50 episodes or something, or maybe 100, I don't even know. It's purely a scripted.
Mm-hmm.
And what we realized is Joffrey kind of brought it up is that we're not even really having a conversation. We're just doing the script, right? It's like the basic thing. I mean, to be honest, like I still prefer a script. But I still show you my, like solo episodes, like bullet points and whatnot. But the thing is, a free-flowing conversation is good, right? Like me and Joffrey, we kind of get into a habit that sometimes we're going to talk about one subject, but in the beginning, when we're chit-chatting on a podcast, then we might talk about the other subject entirely, and then we have a new episode of content, right? So in the beginning, I do recommend people to stay scripted, just to use it as a crutch. And then for now, like for example, I can talk about something, the book that I'm just reading, and I can just talk about it for 10 minutes. Right, like the idea just start coming in. I can start connecting a thought on the air, and I can make it sound okay, and boom, it's a content, right? So is that answer your question, kind of?
So what you're suggesting is for people that might be starting out, that might be shy and such, or may not have enough confidence, or people that do, is to start off scripted to give yourself a framework to keep yourself on track. But then if the intention is more of a conversation, to diverge from a totally scripted podcast, totally scripted content, to like having it more organic and natural.
It depends what your value is. Like for example,
Exactly.
Joe Rogan, I doubt they have a script, right? Right, and then if you're listening to like Tim Ferriss, and he has pages and pages of he does lots of research on the interviewee, and then make sure that they can guide the question along. Right?
Yeah,
it
exactly.
Depends on what you want out of the podcast.
Exactly. So if it's more of a conversational podcast, then you want to diverge and get into a more organic, natural conversation that you might have with a friend. But if it's more informative, then you might want to reduce your script to be more concise and bullet points, and still be on track with what you want to discuss. So
like the summer show, like when was the last time that we had a script? Never.
Right? I have never had a script.
From the first episode, I remember you asked me, like, should I prepare? I was like, no. Why would you prepare? Right? Like, I know about you, you know about me.
True.
Let's just start talking about, like, from way back, right? Like, how do we know each other? And then that kind of get the ball rolling.
But that also goes into like when we talk about public speaking and presentations that you might do during your schooling, your career, it's a lot of that is scripted, right?
Yeah.
You prepare a presentation. Anything that you are doing in public that has a spotlight on you is usually scripted.
Yeah.
Right. Parties and hanging out with friends, the spotlight isn't on you necessarily, and that's why things can be unscripted. But if it's giving a speech, talking about presentation, that's all you prepare days in advance, night in advance, to kind of like. And so I tend to lean towards like, it's like public thing, spotlights on me, I need to prepare. So
and one thing is that when somebody is doing a solo episode, it's really important to share their train of thought. Like same thing with your, PhD dissertation presentation, right? Like a person can go through bullet point and bullet point, they can drop a lot, like lot of knowledge,
Hmm.
but they're just like an automaton, just then there's not a fun to it, right? Maybe it might work for the PhD dissertation, but for a podcast, for something that is going to draw people in, it might not work,
Yeah,
right? So it's always good to have something to fall back on, especially when you're doing solo episodes. But it takes some practice.
exactly. So I think that's good for listeners who want to try to do a podcast and kind of keep that in mind as they kind of go along. So that's good. Going back to you mentioned about doing solo episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and in my mind, this is what I have. What we're doing right now is you're here, I'm here, we're having a conversation, or at least I can. In my mind thinks we're having a conversation because I see another person. Solo episodes, you don't really have somebody else. You're just speaking into a mic, you're speaking into a phone, you're just recording. How do you get into that zone of having a conversation if that's the goal of your podcast? How do you?
Getting comfortable deviating from the bullet points, right? So kind of like give your perspective on what are you talking about. For example, right? My latest solo episode, "What is Freedom?" Talks about the differences between Western psychotherapy's concept of you know um, freedom, right, and then the Buddhist view on freedom, how those two can intertwine. I'm not a therapist. I don't have a PhD in clinical psychology, right? But I do have a knowledge because I was in the pre-med program. I was in biomedical engineering. I kind of know how Western medicine work, right? Like the whole idea of Western psychotherapy is to make sure that we can go back. We also call that developmental therapy, to kind of trace out a pattern of you growing up to see if you have certain level like a ups and down, maybe depressive episodes, so we can correct that pattern later on, right? I have no experience of doing that. I've never been to therapy before, right? So the way that I can relate to the other person to listening or watching is, oh, I think same thing applying in the Western medicine, right? We have different, cardiology. We have the lung, the kidney, right? Like the internal
Mm-hmm.
medicine, the external medicine, the surgery. So we tend to be able to break down the thing to the tiniest detail. And then we always believe that we can get rid of that cancer, get rid of
Mm-hmm.
that disease, get rid of that issue, right? So I can draw that similarity, even though I know nothing about psychotherapy, but I know, okay, Western medicine kind of share the same philosophical concept. Voila, that was me sharing my perspective to you. Does that make sense?
Mm, that
Kind of.
doesn't fully explain how you got comfortable speaking by yourself.
Just getting comfortable deviating and giving my 2 cents.
Going, okay, how are you comfortable giving 2 cents?
Because I'm
Because
actively.
because again, a lot of going back to more of a prevalent, and in my mind, it's a more prevalent. You don't give. You usually don't give your 2 cents. You usually don't give your opinions until somebody's asked you for it, or or you see a
Ah,
situation
I
and
think
and
I
then
know
you're
what
like,
you're going for now.
so it's
Yes.
it's like, how do you get how do you tell your mind like, okay, I can do this, I can
Ah, I
say
think I know
stuff.
where this is going. Remember when we talked about the whole Gary Vee situation?
Okay, situation.
Same thing here. I don't care what you think about my podcast. I don't care what you think about my opinion. I don't care if you listen to it or not. I don't. Here's my opinion. Here's my podcast. I'm sharing it to you guys. I'm making content. My goal for me personally, with a podcast, is I want to use this as a learning tool for me, helping me to connect the dots, to push me to read more books, to process more information. to be more knowledgeable in a certain area that I feel I'm more interested in. That's it. I really don't care what other people think about me or my talking voice or my looks or how shaggy my hair is. You know what I'm talking about?
So what you're saying is basically a solo episode boils down to you giving your opinions or perspective because you feel you need to make content, not necessarily like you shouldn't care about what others may think. But here's even with a dialogue of two people, that still holds. That perspective still holds. We might not care about anybody who listens to this what their opinion is, and or they might say these guys are totally off the track, like whatever they're saying is like totally incorrect, and there might be truth to it. That's true. But what I'm trying to get to is somehow you got comfortable speaking into a mic by yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get to know that process.
Do it more often.
Okay, so basically you said I want to make a solo episode, and you said, okay, well, I'm just going to do it, and I'm just going to speak into a microphone. I shouldn't care what other people think. I shouldn't really care about if I'm on track or topic or whatever. If I've scripted, that's a different story. You can be scripted, but the idea, but I shouldn't care about what other people think.
Yeah.
Right. And if I can add, I'm going to allow myself to ramble.
Yeah. That's essentially it. You got it. Good job.
So, well, because the reason why, because I was thinking about that this question, and for some reason I got anxiety.
Really?
I got some anxiety of talking solo. This is easy. This is easy for me.
Okay.
Just speaking solo seemed like, oh man, how does Keven do it? That was my first thought. Like that was.
Read this book. Maybe I'll read this book. Anyway, go ahead.
And that's why I'm not saying that what I could speak or what somebody else could speak on there might it might be true to them. It might be informative. It might be well researched. But just the idea of just speaking and just was that's what I'm trying to kind of understand.
Yeah, my mom kind of told me the same thing when I was doing a quarantine time, doing a Chinese podcast on a Chinese platform. She was telling me the same thing. It's like, Keven, like I heard you do this, and it's like I tried it myself, but it's not that good. I was like, yeah, I've been doing it for the last 200 something episodes. It's your episode 1. You are supposed to suck. Well, I didn't say suck, but
yeah, you're supposed to like have some issues.
And part of it, I think she has anxiety too, is that she just are not used to sharing his voice or her voice in a public forum, right? Because you need to post it somewhere, right? Where you need to send it to someone to get awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she said, oh yeah, if I'm saying this, or maybe my school, right? She was at a high school, she teaches. Maybe my school will find out. Maybe it's gonna be embarrassed for my coworker to, oh yeah, like she's like doing that, and she's not doing it anymore, right? So part of it is that having a conversation is so natural to people because it takes two to tangle, right? To talk. Whenever you are recording a solo episode, your brain function kind of kick into a separate gear, and you get there by just doing it more, right? By making references. By if you haven't noticed that I tend to giggle when I was doing my solo episode. I tend to just laugh at myself. Oh, yeah, yeah, right, yeah. I know, right? So like I'm putting myself in more of a relaxed state, kind of similar to in this, where we're like chatting, we're laughing, we're giggling. you know, by the end of the day, it's just you don't want to put too much pressure on yourself, you know, and just
So you can be vulnerable. You can be vulnerable. You can be true to yourself.
yeah. Like to be honest, like I still don't talk that well. Like I still use I still use you know. Yeah, you probably pick it up on that, right? It's after 200 episodes, I still say that. I want to change. Trust me, I do. But a lot of time when I'm doing the solo episode, my brain was not functioning in terms of how I sound. My brain is functioning, okay, anything else I want to talk about with this bullet point, anything I want to connect to this dot.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like I'm getting better, but still, like, if you're listening to like Tim Ferriss, and then if you're listening to my voice, it's a huge difference. That Tim Ferriss is way better at controlling, and he went through that same phase too. But whenever you have 400 million downloads, you have a lot of people listen to you, then you might tend to, change the behavior quicker. That's my excuse.
There's probably some incentive to do that.
Yeah.
So how did you guys pick this RDR? Like, what was the motivation of RDR?
The rant, debate, and repeat show. To be honest, Geoffrey and I were two completely different people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We share a couple things, a couple common interests, but a lot of things that we don't really jive well. For example, he just built a $1,200 computer. He's gaming a whole lot. I don't game at all, right? And if you notice,
that's why it'd be interesting to see Keven plays.
Yeah, that's true, right? And then I read a lot, like I kind of like will go down to the rabbit hole, like like listen to this person, buy this person's book. I will go down a rabbit hole like this. Joffrey doesn't do any of that, right? And so a lot of stuff that we can do for the podcast is limited. So I was like, okay, when we hang out, what do we do the most? We talk about what? Oh, we talk about a lot of stuff. Then let's keep a podcast more broad, and let's just chit chat. So we call it rant, debate, and repeat show.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can go on about different things for a while, right? Listen to my AI for interviews episode, right? I rented for like 20 minutes on that. Listen to our previous you and I the education episode, right? I ran for like 20 minutes in that as well. I'm deeply traumatized by the Chinese educational system. Anyway, right? So like if you have something that you want to talk about, I truly believe this. One of the reasons that the podcast is not doing so well is because we don't have a narrow focus, right?
Gotcha.
And that's why your wife's podcast is interesting, because she's planning to do something very, very narrow. Somebody might argue that, okay, a religious podcast people might not listen to, or along those lines. But if you keep it more open-ended, then you're going to kind of get your viewership more diluted. And maybe that's why, I don't know. But we're still doing it after 2 years, so there's something to it. So
there's definitely something to it. So okay, that's good. I mean, so basically, something that you're passionate about. Well, I guess how are you passionate about? Because you mentioned something about being passionate about the topic that you want to discuss a podcast, but it seems the RDR show wasn't because you were passionate about the topics per se, but you were more, if I can maintain that relationship.
Yeah, that's
so that was, and you can correct me, that seems to be the motivation for the RDR show.
Yeah, that's true.
It was a way of keeping or maintaining a relationship.
That's
rather than like
very
being
true.
Passionate about, oh, I want to talk about this every topic.
Yeah, that's 100%. That's the reason. And then part of it is that, when Geoffrey and I first met, we met at the U of U Business School in a finance class, right? And then after we were friends for like a couple of months, I was like, yeah, like we're all marketing majors. We should have a side gig, right? We should have a marketing baby, a marketing project, right? And then, he's into MMA, he's into the fighting. So he listened to the Joe Rogan MMA podcast, and I listen to podcasts a lot, like a lot. So, let's have a podcast and treat it as our, marketing side gig, if that makes sense, right? And he's into the whole digital marketing side of things, and I'm just interested in having a podcast. So.
Okay, I mean that's I mean that's still I think that's still a good way to kind of maintain. So that's good.
Yeah, and then another thing is we should really keep the barrier of entrance really low.
So that's a different kind of approach, right? Again, because a lot of people that listen to podcasts, for all of these people, it's stuff you should know, Joe Rogan, Low, or whatever that is most of these topics have these a focused aim on like we want to do this and A, B, and C, get interviewers, stuff like that. You said is to look at podcasting in a different way, in a different light, and say, this is one way I can have fun with friends. I can maintain a relationship. I can um, I can have this conversation that I would have with a friend and put it for everybody else to kind of listen to it too.
Yeah.
So spin. Maybe there's other podcasts like this, but that's a good spin. That's definitely a good way to kind of like think about that.
That's kind of like my motivation, and your motivation might be I want to let everybody know how cool Marvel heroes are. That's fine. I bet you can go on and on about that.
About what?
About the comic book stuff, like the Marvel or a Star Wars.
Yeah.
Why not do that? That I
was
bet
gonna be
you
my
can.
solo episode. So
yeah, post it on the feed. I don't care. Post it, and I don't mind. I don't know more about the whole Marvel universe too. Right.
But yeah, that's exactly for all those listening. What I want to talk about is not actual Marvel, is to perhaps discuss more of the non-mainstream comics that
cool
people like that. It's like, oh, did you know that this existed? And I read this. This is my perspective, review on that, and kind of like talk about that. So I just felt it was interesting.
Do it. That sounds great.
It would be interesting. People talking about mainstream comics. So
yeah, you have no idea how sick I am with the whole Disney Plus, whole the Mandalorian, or the whole Marvel situation. I literally fell asleep during the last Avenger movie when they're all fighting, when they're saying, like Avenger assemble. I fell asleep during during that part, right? I mean, like people are cheering, and then that woke me up. So anyway, so I want to know more about that. Obviously, it's not my forte, right? The whole comic book situation, right?
But
do it. I encourage you to do it. It's good.
So yeah, that was and hopefully like once things settle down a bit with my puppy, that I probably want to bring that back up. So
yeah, good.
But yeah, that's good to know about podcasting. Let's see what was something else that was in my mind. So yeah, we talked about your motivations, solo episodes, conversations. Let's talk about, well, two things. Let's talk about one. Do you see this podcast ending anytime?
No.
Okay. Why so?
I'm still reading new stuff. I'm still getting information. You and I, we are still quote unquote friends. We still talk. We still talk. Me and Joffrey, we still talk, even though he is probably gaming more than ever now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, has he built his computer already?
Yeah, he has built. He's been gaming like nonstop. And our last podcast about the reopening during COVID-19. Before that, we talked about that. He's like, yeah, man, I've been gaming like 3-4 hours every night, and I kind of feel like I need to do something with my time. I was like, yeah, sounds about right, So, I mean, in the beginning, like it was crazy because I know where you're coming from. Like when we were first doing the podcast, we were like, Jesus Christ, I'm afraid that I'm running out of topics.
Mm.
You know, like how many topics are there going to be? Like, you know, but since we make this so wide ranging, I can talk about anything that I'm interested in, right? It could be the book that I'm reading. It could be the Naval lessons. It could be me training hang diary, right? It could be anything else, right? And that's the beauty of this open-ended format is that I can do whatever I want with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is actually a motivation for me to keep going because I want to make sure that I get my ideas down, and it's actually helping me to formulate my knowledge system and connect the dots and whatnot. So,
Yeah. Okay. That's good to know. So basically, it's over when you feel like it's over. It's not really over. You can change. You can pivot. You can change directions. You can um,
yeah,
do a lot of different things. And the idea is like don't get basically going back to why you're doing a podcast. Not just a motivation, but if you're trying to hit the million view to get that many subscribers and stuff like that, that's probably not the best way to think about it. Just
too
think
much
about
pressure.
too much pressure. Like exactly, like think about that this is a way to have fun, to express your views, something about your passionate or your relationship, and keep going with that. So I think that's a good message.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's literally it. Just don't be insecure and do it. You know.
just do it, guys. Me including.
Yeah, do it. You know, if you want to do your own podcast, I don't mind. If you want to post it on RDR show, I don't mind either. You know, just do it. Get some
Gosh,
content out
did
there.
you
Huh?
did you ever feel when you were doing scripted ones and you went past that? Did you ever feel the need of your podcast to be perfect?
No. Well, in the beginning, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't really care that much anymore. I remember there was a couple summer show that I told you, hey, Summer, I apologize. I might come out overheated, right? Or I might come a little bit more overbearing, but that's to you, right? Like if you have any feedback on me, yeah, I will happy to take it. But like to be honest, like no.
No, I think that's again like okay.
Yeah.
That's because again, like for me, perfectionism seems to be a kind of flaw in a way, and it's like, oh, I just want everything to be perfect.
Do you know
I want
who's
this to.
perfect? Siri.
I don't
Google
think Siri is
Assistant.
perfect either.
Google
So
Assistant. Alexa, right?
Alexa is not perfect.
There. Oh,
I will.
okay. I mean in the terms of delivery.
Yeah. Well,
They say the same thing in the same tone. There's no hiccup. I mean, the worst that she can tell you is, "Oh, I don't know that yet. You know, let me get back to you."
oh no, the worst is when she does something different that you weren't expecting. When I said play this song
Yeah.
and she plays something totally different, it's like I did not say that. I did not ask for that. Where
Yeah.
are you getting that from? Anyways, so
Yeah.
um,
I mean, perfect is not interesting. Interesting is not perfect.
that's a good quote. So
Mm.
interesting is not perfect, guys. Keep
Yeah.
that in mind. Put it on your wall.
Yeah. Like
Underscore Kevin.
every single good like the reason that you like the freaking Twitch show so much is because like it was not interesting at all. It's just us. We're just hanging out. We recorded a 2.5 hour podcast on freaking getting a Twitch stream together. You know.
I know. It'd be hilarious. I haven't seen the video. Do you guys still have? Do you want to give out your Twitch channel if it's active?
Don't remember what's the title on. I don't even remember. It was too long. But I think it was on like my account or something.
Or was it RDR show or?
No, it's Soledad 67, I think.
Or
So
was it
SOLEDAD 67
SOLDAD?
SOLE
Oh, okay.
EAD. So that's a Spanish for like lonely, and
Oh, okay.
67. That's my Twitch handle.
Oh, okay.
And you can see me watching a lot of poker on there. And I think we did it on there. I don't remember.
Gotcha. I'll have to. I'm trying to see if I can pull that up. I haven't been able to pull that up. Let's
Maybe
see.
it's on the previous podcast. I think we did that episode like in February or something. It was before the whole COVID-19 situation.
Oh, okay. Maybe there is. Maybe I found you videos. Let's see.
There was one about me pulling together the bookshelf or something. I did it right after
Oh
podcast.
man, goodness, the haircut. This. Wow, you had like a military kind of haircut.
That was my fresh haircut. Come on, this is a
Uh,
shaggy Kevin.
Putting the what were you doing there?
I don't know. I was doing camera tests on the stream or whatnot. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Check the date. What day was that? That was the day that we recorded the Twitch. February something.
Uh, what I can only see is just.
There should be like a previous broadcast or something.
I only see one video.
See, we haven't figured out the Twitch thing. So look out for
My
us.
goodness, that was disappointing.
We
That
spent
is
2 hours on it, and we still haven't figured out anything.
only one video. Recent broadcast featured past broadcast. Just one.
Yeah. So we didn't really save the one that we did.
Oh my heck, guys, that's disappointing.
I know. 2 hours down the drain. You know, but hey, like it's doing surprisingly well for some reason. There's no content, there's no planning, there's no script, and it just happened. So
Well, look forward to more of those kind of episodes. So
yeah, well, due to the COVID-19 situation, it's kind of hard to do the random conversation.
you can do Kevin taking a shower. Like,
And then do what? I don't know. Singing or come up with some ideas or something.
why not talk about your books in the shower? Oh, that's an idea.
That didn't really make sense. Book in the shower. Who think about reading when they're showering?
No, you're not reading. You're talking about the book.
Nah, that's too complicated. I have to have a waterproof microphone. I got my laptop outside. Figure out the wiring. Too much work, man. Too much work.
Or you could do that when you're sitting on your throne.
That's true. One of the things that I don't get is how do people like read in the bathtub like that? that I don't understand. Like if you're reading like a Kindle maybe, but like a paper book in the bathtub, I was like, really? Anyway.
Paper book can still dry off.
Yeah, but like
Kindle or something is like gonna be like.
Yeah, but like
if they stop working.
Well, the latest Kindle are like waterproof, I think.
Oh, okay.
Always, but like the paper book, like you drop it in the water, you get it wet with steam, and then it's gonna get crumbly, and then it's like, why would you do that? It doesn't make sense.
Or you just be careful and don't drop it.
Yeah, and with the steam and like everything, like you're gonna ruin the book for sure. But see, guys, that was not scripted. That was not scripted conversation. So, anyway.
But yeah, or you could just sing in the bathtub. Kevin singing.
Well, I don't really sing. That's
exactly the point.
Geez, Summer, you would do anything for the views, huh? You would do anything for the freaking views. Oh my God. Even though I don't care about the views, but I still don't want to embarrass myself singing over the air. Come on, man. Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Well, that was good, man. I gotta wrap it up.
Good.
So, because I got another night of taking care of the puppy. So
Yeah, you gotta go to bed early because it's gonna wake you up at like 3:30 today.
I know. It's gonna be crazy another time. So, but
Good stuff. Yeah, like
good stuff, man. Good stuff.
I'm happy to like listen to your podcast or your wife's podcast. You know, like I'm happy to subscribe to it and
Yeah, for sure. I think that would be great. I mean, so maybe she wouldn't mind you promoting it. I don't know. So,
yeah, that's
um,
fine. She can put it on the podcast feed as well. I don't care.
okay, I'll let her know. So,
So
okay, and hopefully people are able to get some good lessons from this podcasting 101.
it just
And
it's just
as
the way that I did things pretty much.
and,
It's not a
and
lesson.
what does Kevin say? And can't wait to be- can't wait to. I'm excited. I can't wait to for you to start your own podcast, something like that.
What? What
Your
do you say?
your ending message, like
Can't wait to what?
you
So
in your ending message, your anchor sponsor message, you like talk about like can't wait for people to get their. I don't know. I'll have to like listen to it.
do your homework, Summer. Come on, do your homework.
Or just wait. You know, when the end of this podcast, you'll hear the message.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Uh,
So, gotcha. And you, just to kind of like, just to wrap it up, do you recommend Anchor
yeah,
as
yeah. Anchor is the easiest way. I don't think there's any other way that's easier than Anchor. Like to be honest, I just publish your sub to like all the platform. Like you don't even need to do anything about it. You know, one click and it's up. Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and Breaker, Google Podcasts, everywhere. Easy.
everywhere?
Yeah. So
Gotcha. That's awesome.
yeah,
Okay, man.
cool.
It's good talking to you.
Us
So,
too. Me too.
okay,
You mean this is Kevin signing off, right? That's what you mean?
that's what I mean. This is
Okay.
this is summer signing off.
Just
So,
listen to more on my solo episodes, man. You're tripping a little bit. Anyway.
okay,
Anyway, we're wrapping this up.
okay,
All right.
guys.
Cool.
Good
See you
night, man.
guys.